Welcome to the Wake Before the Day podcast with my parents, Clark and Bobby. We're excited to talk about the Bible and the Holy Spirit adventures. Thanks for listening.
We're here with Proverbs chapter 10.
Yep, August 10, Proverbs 10. Kudos to all of you who are doing the Proverbs challenge and sharing with other people what you're getting out of your reading. It's fantastic, and we love seeing it. There's a lot of people doing the Proverbs challenge, and it's really encouraging for us to see.
Let's keep it going.
Let's keep it going through the Proverbs and beyond. So today, we're going to break down Proverbs chapter 10, and we're going to look at really just a couple verses that really spoke to my heart and to Bobby's heart. And we're going to begin with Proverbs 10, verse 4. Bob, would you have the honors reading this to us?
Yes. Okay, verse 4 sounds like this. Lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth.
Now, what stuck out to me is that this is a common theme throughout the Proverbs. This diligent hands leads to profit. This work ethic leads to gain. It leads to growth. But laziness brings poverty and hunger on yourself. And so I was looking in a study Bible because I know I've read this in other parts of the Proverbs. And sure enough, Proverbs 6 talks about this. Proverbs 12, 13, 14, 18, 27, and 28 all talk about how diligence leads to profit, gain, and growth. But laziness leads to poverty and hunger. And so I'm thinking about this in many different arenas of life, and I think it's a universal truth. I was thinking about a Dave Ramsey quote when it comes to our finances. He gives this analogy of those who are diligent with their money. He said, imagine this. There's the first man, his name is Jack. When he's 21 years old, he invests $2,400 for 9 years, and then he doesn't invest a penny after that. If you look at how much money he invests over that time, it's $21,600. He doesn't put another penny in, and when he comes to retire, he'll have $2.5 million. You see, Dave Ramsey's point is that Jack was diligent, and he began to organize his resources and his wealth right away, and he was just simply able to do that, and it pays off in the long run because he started early. Now, the second man, Blake, he starts investing when he's 30. He invests the same amount of money, $2,400, compared to Jack's 9 years. Blake invests for 38 years. So Jack invested $21,000 some dollars. Blake invested $91,000. And while Jack ended up, after investing 9 years, with $2.5 million, Blake invested for 38 years and only got $1.48 million. I say only $1.48 million. So you see, there's over a $1 million difference and roughly almost 30 years difference of investment. And Dave Ramsey's point is, if you're organized, if you're diligent, if you're blessed and able to, start young with your investing because it's going to pay off. You're going to have profit. You're going to have gain. You're going to have growth.
That's like I guess a good analogy you can look at in all over in life is just how diligence and I mean the Proverbs speak to discipline too, is going to help you reap benefits all over your life. Like some of the examples off the top of our head that just kind of popped out were even so I grew up small town, living a couple miles out of town, and you see farmers doing their thing 24/7, 365 days of year. Like there is just diligence in watching the season. So even when there's not a harp, oh my goodness, even when there's not a crop in the field, they're still working the dirt. They're still preparing seeds. They're oiling their equipment. And then it's just all year. There's just this diligence in their work all the time, all hours, day and night. You know, if it's raining, they're going one thing. If it's not raining, they're doing another thing.
We talked about working out.
Right.
And just taking care of your body, right?
Right. That's discipline. That's hard work. That takes diligence. And that's another just easy life example. Another one that we thought of is eating healthy. That takes diligence. That takes discipline.
It takes time.
It takes time.
Because,
it takes a plan.
Eating one salad a week is not going to do it, folks.
For sure.
But when you incorporate that on a daily basis or often, just being mindful of your portions, like you're going to find that you're taking care of your body and your body will take care of you.
Right. And some people will say, you know, like, oh, you just have good genes, you know, how are you? And it's funny, I heard...
people don't tell me that.
I read a story about this. Essentially, the guy...
You have gray hair already, Clark.
Yeah,
It's my genes. Thanks, Dad.
Where was I going? Anyway, I think, and the guy was essentially saying like, yeah, you know, I'm not even sure about my genes, but I do know, you know, I make everyday decisions so that now that I'm 57 years old, I'm living at my optimum, you know, because I've been doing this for my entire life. Anyway, so diligence and discipline in all of these realms
lead to a fruitful life.
Bobby
and I were talking, we recalled someone's quote that described famine in a different way. Famine being, you know, we normally think, oh, there's no food, you know, the Dust Bowl. And they describe famine as also being from a time of misplaced wealth. Like famine can actually be self-induced and can come when you blow your resources. And then you find yourself in a famine where you have a shortage now of things. And I think our country can resonate with that just throughout our history and at different points in times. We have so much at our fingertips, and even at an individual level, we have time, we have resources, we have comfort. What are we doing with that? And so this verse, again, going back to diligence leads to profit, gain, and growth. Laziness brings about poverty and hunger. We gave you examples of finances, working out, farming, eating healthy. But spiritually, we want to encourage you, just take it one day at a time and plod. And it's the tortoise, you know, beats the hare in the race because it's a marathon. And when you have these spiritual rhythms in place and it's a daily habit, we're reading your Bible. Maybe you're writing your one verse down that when you look back in years down the road, you'll see that you've come a long way. That's going to be a great gift. The last couple of verses that stuck out to Bobby and I were verses 8 and verses 17. Bobby, you want to read those for us?
So this is verse 8. The wise in heart accept commands, but a chattering fool comes to ruin.
And how about verse 17?
Oh, and 17. He who heeds discipline shows the way to life, but whoever ignores correction leads others astray.
I guess if I could translate that in my own words, it would say, accept commands and discipline, even rebuke, as a great gift, and what an opportunity to learn from your mistakes.
Yeah.
So I think from my life, there's a temptation when I make a mistake to try to justify myself or to hide and hopefully that no one finds out what I did.
Right.
On the flip side, I'm trying to look at different situations as, wow, what a great opportunity to learn. And I want to make the most of this. Why? Because I don't want to revisit this. I want to grow from it. I want to become better. I want to learn from other people. You have anything you want to add to that?
No, I think that's a really good takeaway. I think one of the things I was just kind of sitting in verse 8, so that one was this again, the wise in heart accept commands, but a chattering fool comes to ruin. And I was just thinking how, you know, sometimes in life, we know everything. So the wise in heart accept commands. So sometimes in life, it's kind of easy just to write things off. You know, maybe people that are older than us, maybe our parents, maybe people that are in the positions of authority. Maybe when you're younger, and it's hard to accept commands sometimes. But the Bible's actually telling us, like, no, it's a wise thing to accept commands. And then the last part, but a chattering fool comes to ruin. I just think about times when I've, you know, been in that awkward silence sometimes and you just can't quit talking because you're like, oh, nobody's talking. I'm just going to keep talking. And before you know it, you know, everybody knows like your underwear size. And so it's like, just be quiet. Be quiet. My mom always used to say, well, you know, God did give you one mouth and two ears. And so maybe we need to do double the listening and just be quiet. And that's kind of this Hebrew poetry is called parallelism. And that's a little bit of what you're seeing here is how there's maybe saying the same thing a couple different ways throughout all the chapters. And I think it's important that we get these things repeated, that we remember them. So that kind of stuck out.
One of my uncles always has a line. He says, Clark, you know, what's the difference between the fish mounted on the wall and the fish swimming free in the lake? The fish mounted on the wall opened its mouth one too many times. And I resonate with that, Bobby. and that sometimes we're chattering and just talking too much. But as we wrap up, I want to go back to Proverbs 9. We read that yesterday, verses 7 through 9, and it really reaffirms what we just said there. It says, "Whoever corrects a mocker invites insult, and whoever rebukes a wicked man incurs abuse. Do not rebuke a mocker, or he will hate you. Rebuke a wise man, and he will love you. Instruct a wise man, and he'll be wiser still. Teach a righteous man, and he will add to his learning." And so as we wrap up, think about verse 4. What does it look like to be a diligent person in your life? In every arena, your finances, your working out, your relationships, your food, but most importantly, your spirituality. And lastly, think through some of the mistakes you've made in your life and cherish actually the opportunity to learn from them. Don't be afraid, don't be scared, but become better from it. And pray that God would help shape and form you to be the man or woman that God made you to be, and capitalize on the opportunity, and pray that we won't make the same mistake again. So thanks for tuning in. We're excited to have you join us on the journey, and as always, want to encourage you to dive in the Word yourself and try to find someone to process what the Lord's speaking to you. All right, God bless you all, and have a fantastic week.
The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face shine on you and be gracious to you. The Lord turn his countenance toward you and give you his peace. Have a great day.